Welcome back guys. Ghost of Tsushima just received a new update in the form of patch 8. Now the game is Steam Deck verified. This is for the game's campaign mode. Game's multiplayer mode has been listed separately as a DLC. It's still not compatible with NX-based SteamOS. Various user interface optimization for tech. Added a Steam Deck graphics preset. Updated AMD FSR to version 3.1.4. Various performance optimizations and stability improvements are also included. In this video I'll show you how to use the INT8 version of FSR for Upscaler in conjunction with Optiscaler XeSS FrameGen in this game. We'll be testing it on my Steam Deck running on Linux-based SteamOS. I'll be honest, in-game FSR 3 Upscaler and FSR FrameGen offer a good experience. FSR 3 Upscaler produces some minor ghosting around our pose posting. Very difficult to observe this ghosting effect on deck small display. FSR frame generation does a good job of improving the game's performance, but it does produce some graphical artifacts like ghosting around a character shadow during fast visual motion. A screen tearing like effect is produced around the left and right edges of the display when we spin the camera. On Steam Deck, I recommend using the in-game FSR frame generation instead of Optiscaler XeSS FrameGen, as the former is slightly lighter than the latter. First I'll run the game without any mods installed, show you the base game performance. Using G Proton version 10-20 as the compatibility layer, connected my FlyDigi Vader 4 Pro controller to deck via Bluetooth mode, X input controller. I have the LCD variant of Steam Deck. Display supports up to 60Hz refresh rate. I have overclocked the display's refresh rate from 60 to 70Hz. Here we are in performance game settings. OLED level set to 3, frame limit 70, that's it. Show you the in-game settings. Display. Window mode set to full screen, which is actually borderless full screen mode, 800p resolution. VSync it's off. First I'll run the game at native resolution. Upscaler disabled. Anti-aliasing TA. Frame generation off. Using Steam Deck graphics preset, there it is. Motion blur strength set to nil, very important for using XeSS FrameGen. Low to medium settings with Steam Deck graphics preset. Depth of field very low. Bloom vignette off. There's Jen. I'm in Golden Temple region. Lot of NPCs here, good for testing the game. Yeah, we are getting close to 30 FPS, not bad, hitting the GPU bottleneck as expected. This is native 800p resolution. Image quality is looking sharp. No ghosting is produced around our character model. Minor ghosting is produced around the bowstring. It's very difficult to observe this ghosting on deck small display. And just run around. If you plan on playing the game without frame generation, where to apply a 30 FPS cap for a more stable experience, enable upscaling. I'll be using FSR 3's balance preset 28 to 31 FPS at native 800p resolution. Let's enable FSR upscaler. And just set upscale method to FSR 3.1.4 using its balance preset. Resume the game from the same spot. Yeah, FPS increased to around 39. FPS increased by around 8 to 9 after enabling FSR upscaler, dropping the base game resolution. And I'll be honest guys, image quality is looking decent, not bad. Slightly pixelated the bowstring. Yeah, there's some ghosting around the bowstring right here. Minor ghosting. Garble textures are produced around the bow. FSR 3 upscaler is definitely usable. And just run around. FPS stays close to 40. Again we are hitting the GPU bottleneck. I'll just drop the graphics preset to, the upscaler's preset to performance. Upscale quality, performance. Back to the game. Still getting around 40 FPS with the performance preset of FSR upscaler. Image quality is looking slightly pixelated. Better to use the balance preset of FSR 3 upscaler if you plan on playing the game on Steam Deck. Okay, now I'll enable the in-game FSR frame generation. Just set frame generation to FSR frame gen from the in-game settings. Enable manual GPU clock speed setting from performance QM settings. Set the clock speed to 1400 MHz. DEX CPU draws up to 15 watts of power. This power is shared between the CPU and the GPU. If the CPU draws too much of power, GPU's performance will tank and vice versa. Yeah, FPS increased to around 59. Spinning the camera. There is some latency as expected. Base FPS is close to 40. Latency is manageable. Games interface, it's not flickering. Crosshairs not flickering. Smoothing effect, it's consistent. Animation quality is looking much smoother now. Here frame generation effect is not applied on the game's HUD elements to prevent their flickering. So good results produced by in-game FSR, upscaler and frame generation. Now I'll show you how to use Optiscaler mod. We'll be using it to inject FSR 4 upscaler and Optiscaler XeSS frame generation into the game. The latest preview for version 0.9 build of Optiscaler mod has some issues on Linux. The mod menu does not pop up, so I'll be using an older version of Optiscaler mod, version 0.9 preview 3 2025-0911 build, available on Optiscaler's Discord server. We'll give the link to their Discord in the description. Click on the .7z link here. FSR SDK was leaked a couple of months ago. It included files corresponding to the INT8 version of FSR 4 upscaler. These files could be used to compile an FSR 4 TLL. Big thanks to Reddit user athlete-dependent926 for doing this and sharing the file with the community. Just click on the Go file link here. From this page you need to download AMD Fidelity FX Upscaler tx12.tll file. Just click on download here. Open Dolphin File Explorer, click on downloads. Here you'll find all of the files that you just downloaded. I have transferred them to another directory. It does not matter. Now I'll install Optiscaler mod. Just open its archive file, double click, click on extract again, wait for the extraction process to complete, finish, close the archive window, just open the extracted folder, change the name of optiscaler.tll file to dxgi.tll, rename, type dxgi. I'll be disabling Optiscaler's dxgi spoofing feature. We'll be using the in-game FSR 4 upscaler to activate Optiscaler mod. Just open optiscaler.ini file, scroll down until you find spoofing section. There it is. Under this section look for a line name dxgi and just set it to false. This will disable the feature. Click on save, close. Now just copy the highlighted files, libxeSS.tll, XeSS super resolution file, libxeSS_fg.tll, XeSS frame generation file, dxgi.dll. Select all of the DX12 versions of Fidelity FX files. Vulkan version of Fidelity FX not required, not using Nukem 9's mod. Fake nvapi.dll, fake nvapi.ini. libxcll.dll, XeSS low latency mode file, optiscaler.ini file, libxeSS_dx11.tll, dx11 version of XeSS super resolution not required. Right click, copy, 10 files selected. Select the game in your Steam library, right click, manage, click on browse local files, paste everything here, apply to all, override. Now I'll be installing the INT8 version of FSR 4 upscaler. Just copy its AMD Fidelity FX Upscaler dx12.tll file that you downloaded from Reddit. Paste it in the game's install directory. Replace the existing file right here. Override, and we are done. Don't need to add any launch argument to the game in order to get Optiscaler mod working. Switch to gaming mode. Launch the game. In-game graphics settings, Steam Deck graphics preset, display, 800p resolution, display mode full screen. Yeah, set upscaler to FSR 4.0.2. Using the upscaler's performance preset, frame generation, disable for the time being. Manual GPU clock speed setting off as well. Once the game loads up, just open Optiscaler menu by pressing the insert keyboard key. And there it is. I'll just increase the menu size. Click on the drop down bar next to menu UI scale, set the value to 1.1. Now I'll switch to FSR 4 upscaler. Click on the drop down bar next to change upscaler and select FSR 3.x as the option. Click on change upscaler again. FSR 4 selected, INT8 version of FSR. Input in-game FSR upscaler. DXGI spoofing, yeah, it's off. Auto Explorer setting, enable it under init flag section. No frame generation enabled. Model setting set to default. It automatically selected model 0 for me, which is not the correct model. Model 0 corresponds to the upscaler's ultra quality preset on native resolution with FSR AA. I am using the upscaler's performance preset, so model 3 should have been selected. Unfortunately, manually changing the model does not work with this build, so I'll just stick with the default preset. Current model selected 0. It produces some noticeable ghosting around our bowstring. Enable Optiscaler performance overlay. FPS overlay setting checked. Full plus graph. Position top right. Scale 1.3. Base resolution 640 by 400 pixels, upscale to 800p. Save and close. Yeah, this is FSR 4 upscaler standing next to the golden temple. FPS here is around 35. With FSR 3 upscaler's performance preset, we were getting close to 40 FPS. So after switching to FSR 4 upscaler, FPS dropped by around 5 to 6. Upscaler cost, yeah, it's on the higher side, 8.6 milliseconds. Image quality is looking sharp. This is surprising. Difficult to believe the game is not running at native 800p resolution. Yeah, just observe the bowstring. Can observe some ghosting. It's a shame that we cannot change the FSR model using this build of Optiscaler mod. I used preview 4 build on ROG Ally in this game. I was able to change the model. Not observing any significant ghosting around Jin's character model. You can definitely use FSR 4 upscaler on Steam Deck. The floating leaves, they are not leaving any ghost trail, and you can even combine FSR 4 upscaler with the in-game FSR frame generation to improve the performance. I'll quickly show you this. Just set in-game frame generation to FSR, apply, yes, enable manual GPU clock speed setting, speed set to 1400 MHz. Back to the game, your FPS increased to around 50. Can observe that amount of smoothness. Can also observe the increase in latency. It's expected. Base FPS here is close to 35. But this is the game running with FSR 4 upscaler. If you want to have the best possible performance, just use the in-game FSR 3 upscaler and combine it with FSR frame generation. As simple as that. Just observe a character's shadow. Okay, shadow is barely rendered. So FSR frame generation can't produce any noticeable ghosting around it. Now I'll show you how to use Optiscaler XeSS frame gen. Just open the mod menu. Click on the drop down bar next to FG source and select FSR 3.1 FG as the option. This way we won't be required to deal with hotfix. Game officially supports FSR 3.1 frame gen. Click on the drop down bar next to FG output and select XeFG as the option. Save and close. Need to restart the game. Play. After restarting the game, make sure in-game FSR frame generation setting is enabled. Manual GPU clock speed setting enabled. Speed set to 1400 MHz. Once the game loads up, just open Optiscaler menu and check the setting active under frame generation XEFG. This will enable XeSS frame gen. Check the debug view. If XeSS frame gen is working properly, you will see these purple sidebars flickering. Uncheck debug view. Check the settings show detected UI. Game's UI elements will be highlighted pink in color. See crosshair. Can observe the add amount of smoothness. Just disable the debug view. But you can't detected UI setting. Yeah, this is the real world input delay. Latency is still present. XeSS frame gen's latency is slightly lower than that of FSR frame gen in this game. In most of the games that I have tested. FPS is close to 50. It's running around. Subtitles, yeah, they are not flickering. Again, you can combine XeSS frame gen with FSR 3 upscaler, even XeSS upscaler, completely up to you. Image quality here is looking very good, sharp. No ghosting is produced around Jin's character model. Some ghosting is produced around the bowstring. Okay, I'll just leave this place. Show some combat as well. We'll be getting better performance in the open areas in this game. Less populated. Yeah, FPS is close to 53 now. Stunning visuals. Look at the scenery in the background. Barely any stuttering in this game. Very nicely optimized on PC platform. Unlike some recently released Unreal Engine 5 games. Unreal Engine games are notorious for their traversal stutters. Dead body here, it happened. Corpse. I'll complete a side quest. I think it's a main quest. I need to go to Adachi Estate. Made it. Looking for Lady Masako.
Warriors of Clan Adachi. Is anyone here? Kill him!
Combat time. Don't remember the controls now. This guy is done. He has very good performance on Steam Deck in the latest version of the game. Good results produced by Optiscaler Mod as well. That's it with the video, guys. I hope you find it useful. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.